Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So last class we have finished with chronic sclerosing osteomyelitis CSO. We'll be starting with osteomyelitis with proliferative periostitis today. Okay, let's start. Osteomyelitis with proliferative periostitis, that is Gary's osteomyelitis. Coming to clinical presentation and pathogenesis, it is a clinical radiographic variant of a chronic osteomyelitis. So it is a clinical radiographic variant of the chronic osteomyelitis found in young individuals. So Gary's osteomyelitis are found only in young individual. Because of their high resistance, increased local blood supply and great bone regenerative capabilities. तो ये यंग इंडिविजुअल में क्यों पाए जाते हैं? बिकॉज ऑफ देयर हाई रेजिस्टेंस, increased local blood supply and greater bone regenerative capabilities. It has been termed Gary's osteomyelitis with proliferative periostitis and more recently periostitis ossificans because of the associated formation of new paracortical bone. So it is known as Gary's osteomyelitis, osteomyelitis with proliferative periostitis, and third term is periostitis ossificans. These are the terms used for Gary's osteomyelitis, and it is known as periostitis ossificans because of the associated formation of new paracortical bone. It is most oftenly seen in child or teenager associated with an apical infection in a mandibular posterior teeth. So Gary's osteomyelitis is most commonly only found in specifically found in mandible in the posterior region, does not occur in maxilla. The expansion produced by Gary's osteomyelitis is bone hard. It is non-tender, no pus drainage or erythema. In 1893, Carl Gary first described a similar entity in tibia. तो जो कार्ल गेरी था जिसके नाम पे गेरीज ऑस्टियोमाइलिटिस रखाया, he has described osteomyelitis, tibial osteomyelitis, not mandibular osteomyelitis. He has told about tibial osteomyelitis. Now Pell in 1955 was the first to describe this entity in mandible. He identified the chronic nature of the disease as well as periosteal new bone formation. So in Gary's osteomyelitis, two things are important: chronic process, it is a chronic process or chronic osteomyelitis, variant of chronic osteomyelitis, and second is there is periosteal bone formation, and third is found in young individual. These three are the key point of Gary's osteomyelitis. Okay, and he only coined the term Gary's osteomyelitis. So Pell coined the term Gary's osteomyelitis. Coming to differential diagnosis, can be Ewing sarcoma, endosteal and periosteal osteosarcoma. Now coming to radiographic finding, right angle radiograph and CT scan are preferred. We should look for pulpar or periapical infection, radiolucency, because the main source of osteomyelitis is the pulpal or periapical infection. Any of the osteomyelitis is caused by this. So specifically in Gary's osteomyelitis, we should look for pulpar or periapical infection or radiolucency. Okay, deposition of extracortical new bone outside an existing intact cortex, and if this deposition, the extracortical deposition occurs in layering appearance, it is known as onion skin pattern. How does this layering appears? Because bone is laid down in alternate pattern. If alternate pattern of laying down bone, then onion skin appearance or pattern is seen. And if it is not in alternate pattern, then trabecular cancellous bone pattern is seen. So radiographically we can appreciate two pattern. First is onion skin pattern and second is trabecular cancellous bone pattern. So onion skin pattern is seen when there is layering appearance or the bone is laid down on the alternate pattern. and if it is not in the alternate pattern, then the appearance will be trabecular cancellous bone pattern. Okay, that's all for today. We'll be continuing through our radiographic in next class, and we'll finish Gary's osteomyelitis in next class. Till then, like, share, subscribe and comment. Bye.